Okay, let's just start with something honest. Let's talk about the reality of working in career services.
Look, most career services professionals are doing absolutely exceptional work, but they're doing it with very limited time. You're not just a coach, right? You're a guide. You're helping students navigate some of the biggest, most important journeys of their entire lives. The big decisions, those moments of self-doubt, and then hopefully the huge triumphs when they land that offer.
And here's the thing. You're doing all of that incredibly important work while juggling a caseload that just keeps growing, right? Every semester, more students. The programming, it never stops. And that inbox, oh man, that stack of emails just does not care how many appointments you have on the calendar. It is a really demanding reality.
So, into that already packed reality, AI tools have arrived. And they've arrived with a lot of noise. You've seen it, right? Every platform is promising a complete transformation. Every demo looks super impressive, but underneath all that hype, I bet a lot of you are quietly wondering, is this actually going to help me, or is this just one more thing I'm going to have to figure out?
Well, this explainer, this is the answer to that exact question. And look, this isn't a sales pitch. It's not some demo of what's theoretically possible down the line. Nope, this is a clear step-by-step walkthrough of exactly what this toolkit does, how you can use every part of it, and what you can realistically expect from it.
Okay, so let's jump right in. Let's talk about what you're going to walk away with after this. Think of this as the practical, no-fluff guide you've been hoping for.
So by the time we're done here, you're not just going to know what skill files are. You're going to completely understand why they are such a game changer for your work. We'll give you a really clear picture of all 8 of the core career skills so you can use them whenever you need to. We'll do a step-by-step walkthrough so you know how to run them on any major AI platform. You'll also get a guide to what I think is probably the most powerful tool in this whole system, the Employer Research Orchestrator. And crucially, we'll give you a practical framework for using all this stuff responsibly and ethically in your practice.
And I want to be super clear about this. You do not need any technical background for this. Seriously, you don't need to know how to code. Everything we're going to talk about runs right in a web browser, probably on platforms you're already using. And the workflow? It genuinely takes about 5 minutes to learn. That's it. All right, you ready? Let's get started with part 1, the foundations. So what is this toolkit and how does it all actually work? So you've definitely heard the names, right? ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini. These are what we call AI language tools. And really, all they are is programs trained on just enormous amounts of text. Because of that, they can read, they can write, analyze, summarize, and respond to your questions in plain English. That's the basic idea. Okay, so here's the best way to think about one of these tools. Imagine you have a highly capable research and writing assistant, one who works at the speed of thought, and, bonus, never gets tired. But, and this is the key part, that assistant needs your professional judgment to do anything meaningful. You are always the expert here. The AI is just your assistant.
Now, this part is so important because we need to cut through all the hype. What are these tools genuinely good at, and what can they not do? Well, on one side, you've got what they're great at, processing tons of text quickly, applying structured frameworks without getting tired, basically all the heavy lifting. But on the other side, that's what they can't do. They can't know your student's unique context. They can't feel the emotional side of a coaching relationship. That's the uniquely human part that will never, ever be replaced. That's where you, the coach, are absolutely essential.
And this really boils it all down to one simple, powerful idea. The AI produces a draft, you produce the guidance. That distinction is everything, and it's a theme we're going to keep coming back to.
Okay, so how do we actually make that happen? This brings us to the core idea of this entire toolkit. What in the world is a skill file, and what makes it so powerful? Okay, think about it like this. When you open up ChatGPT or Claude and just type something generic, like, help me analyze this job posting, you're going to get a response. But it's generic. It's inconsistent. The AI has no professional context. But when you use a skill file, that changes everything. It's like you're giving the AI a professional identity, a step-by-step process, and specific standards. The output you get is structured, professional, and actually useful. The difference is, honestly, night and day.
So let's define it. A skill file is basically a carefully written instruction document. You're telling the AI how to behave for a specific task. You're not just asking it a question, you're actually giving it expertise. You're teaching it how to think like a career coach for that one specific job.
And here's what that skill file gives the AI. First, a professional identity.
You're telling it you are a resume strategist. Second, you give it a step-by-step process to follow. Third, a set of quality and ethical standards. And fourth, a specific output format to produce. It's the difference between asking a confused intern for help and getting a thoughtful response from a colleague.
Okay, so let's talk about the payoff, because at the end of the day, this is why all of this matters. It really just boils down to two things: more time for coaching and way less time spent on prep.
And honestly, the numbers here pretty much speak for themselves. Just look at some of these common, time-consuming tasks. A resume review and tailoring session that might take you 45 minutes to an hour. With this toolkit, you can get the core of it done in about 5 to 8 minutes. That's an 85% time savings. Interview prep that can take over an hour, we're talking 5 to 10 minutes. Deep employer research, huge time savings there too. This isn't about cutting corners at all. It's about making your expertise and your time so much more efficient and scalable.
Let me just say that again. We're talking about an average reduction of 80% in your prep time for complex coaching sessions. Just let that sink in for a second. That's not a small improvement. That is a complete game changer for how you do your work.
And so that really leads to the big question, the one I want to leave you with as we wrap up this section. What could you do with all that time back? Could you see more students? Could you have deeper coaching conversations? Could you finally launch those new programs you've been thinking about? Ultimately, this is about reclaiming your time so you can focus on the work that truly matters.